Okay, Saints fans, here's my take. I think both Shuck and Rattler need to play this season. They both need to play in the regular season. I don't think it's decisive on who the next franchise quarterback is, if any. The Saints need to make a decision, or they'll just be drafting quarterbacks year after year, and we risk becoming the Jets or the Browns. The Jets haven't been right since Testaverde or maybe Pennington. That's a long time ago. The Browns haven't been right since Kosar. Yeah, they had Baker Mayfield, but they ruined that, and now he's balling in Tampa. The Jets and the Browns' problem was they panicked. They felt that they had to take a quarterback because they haven't found the guy. And year after year, they wasted first-round picks on quarterbacks. Let's look at who the Browns were taking. The Browns were taking Kaiser, Quinn, Couch, Manziel. Now, come on. We all knew those guys weren't the next. I don't care how good they performed in college. The Jets, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, Mark Sanchez, and yeah, they went to two straight AFC championships with Mark Sanchez. Okay, but let's be for real. We know that wasn't Mark Sanchez. No disrespect, but just facts. If Mark Sanchez was the reason the Jets went to those AFC championships, he wouldn't have played in 6 different teams his whole career. The Saints need to search for that next guy, but they don't need to panic in doing it. Or take a quarterback just because you need one and one's on the board. The Saints probably need to take the best player available for the next 3 or 4 seasons. You know, don't just get a quarterback because we need a quarterback and try to make magic out of it, you know? If I want a ribeye steak, I'm not going to order a sirloin because the sirloin is the only steak on the menu. No, I'm just going to order something else. I'll take the fish. And I'm sorry, but Jake Haener, I don't understand why Jake Haener is still on the team. Jake Haener is not the guy. You cannot convince me that a guy who practices throwing a football with a rugby ball is going to be a great quarterback. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're practicing throwing a ball using a ball from another sport. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you because you're one of those Saints fans who blindly believes everything the organization does, just says who that and shows up on Sunday and hoping for a miracle. Sorry, football does not work that way. Yeah, it's good to be lucky, but it takes some skill too. And you can't convince me that a guy throwing a rugby ball to practice throwing a football is a good idea. You just can't convince me of that. You know, it's like, so I'm going to practice hitting a fastball and throw a volleyball at me. Yeah, that's going to work. But there was positive things to take from week 1, you know. Rattler started off rusty, but it seemed at the end of the game, they let him be Rattler. They let him scramble. He's not going to succeed as a pocket quarterback. That is not his game. And when he started to play his game, the offense started to open up. He was more comfortable. And that last drive, he drove us down. What could have been the game-time field goal could have been the game winner if Blake Grupe would have made the 37-yard field goal, but we'll get back to that later. But he drove us down to what Juwan Johnson could have made the game-time touchdown, and he dropped it. It was a tough catch. It was great defense, but you get paid millions of dollars to make that catch, Juwan. And I'm not mad at you, but you get paid millions of dollars. We're not gonna act like you get paid $25 an hour on a football field. You get paid good money to make plays like that. You didn't make it. It was a tough catch, but you should have. And on to Blake Grupe. I don't blame field goal kickers because the thing about field goal kickers is, if you score touchdowns, you never need them. They're like your safety net because you couldn't score the touchdown. Now, if it was a 60-yard field goal, I'd have been like, you know what? We should have never been in that position. But a 37-yard field goal, you make enough money to where Blake, you're supposed to make that, my man. What week 1 did was it stressed the importance of preseason and getting those reps in. It stressed the importance of preseason. Those reps are important because you're coming out looking rusty in week one and you didn't play preseason. If you played preseason, maybe you wouldn't have been rusty. I know people are going to say, you never play it, you don't understand. No, I don't understand why you don't play preseason, because that's there for a reason, to get you warmed up. Yeah, Jamar Chase don't need to play preseason. You know, Joe Burrow don't need to play preseason, but guess what? They did, because it's important and you need it. And they say, well, we don't want to risk injury. Well, at some point, you have to get on the field. And preseason warms you up. And certain players, they need that. They don't need to be on the bench in preseason. So it is what it is. Moving on. Defense look good, though. But I'm waiting for a real test. That real test is going to be week 4 against Buffalo. That is going to be a real test against Josh Allen. Not saying we're going to shut him down, but if that defense can hold Josh Allen to under 24 points on the road, I'm going to say that defense is the real deal. San Francisco's really not going to be a test. It's really not going to be a test. And it's a game that the Saints should win. We should be concerned that the Saints lose that or they struggle. I mean, there's not going to be any Kittle. There's not going to be Jennings. Brock Purdy is out. It's going to be Matt Jones starting. CMC isn't even 100%. So if their top 3 offensive players are not playing, I don't even think Ayuk is playing. So if your top offensive players are not playing and we can't beat this team, that's going to tell me something. If the Saints can't beat the 49ers on Sunday, I'm not one to say tank, but tanking is not a bad idea. If you can't beat this injured team, you need to look forward to 2026. You can be upset about it, but I'm telling you right now, if the Saints lose on Sunday, I don't want to panic, overreact. I'm just being real. If you can't beat this injured, depleted San Francisco team, 2026, let's start making the mock drafts, baby. Anyways, who dat?